Ah, Sicily, a land of romance and adventure, of statues and more statues. But I'm not here to sightsee. I'm here to find out how to steal a mummy. Hi, I'm W.G. Griffiths, and I write novels. And one of the truly great things I love about writing novels is doing the research firsthand. There's something about actually being there, hearing the wind rush by while falling at 150 miles an hour, smelling the horse shit, breathing in the rainforest. If my character has to do it, so do I. My book opens right here in Palermo, Sicily. Caitlin, our film tech cheerleading assistant mummy hunter, agreed to join us on another research adventure. 1,500 years ago, there was a monk. And the congregation loved him, and when he died, they didn't want to bury him. They wanted to put him in the catacombs. So they did that, and they paid homage to him regularly. And the congregation decided, one by one, that they wanted to be hung on the wall next to him. In there is Buzz's friend that he promised he would bury at sea. So you have a 4,000-year-old character who discovers a good friend has been hanging on the wall in these catacombs for the last 500 years. This is a friend who saved his life from drowning. He's determined now to give him a proper burial at sea. How would I do that? I don't know, but to write it, I have to find out. I have to somehow do it. Before I go and find this mummy, I thought it would be a good idea to get acquainted with the city. So I enlisted the help of Valentina, a local tour guide / incredible historian.
The most important thing to understand about Palermo is that Palermo is a very old city, and we counted at least 13 different civilizations who lived here in Sicily.
Palermo was founded in 736 BC with a long history of war and conquest, and its architecture certainly reflected that. I was interested in learning about the Cathedral di Palermo and the kings buried underneath its floors.
Well, it was finished in 1186, so you should imagine that almost anything outside is original. It's a big mix of different culture, different architectures. Even if you look at the windows over there, can you see the windows are all closed?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really look like a church. It looks more like a fortress.
Yeah.
There is a wall.
A fortress, huh? Getting a mummy out of there without the police finding out was going to be tough. But first, the New Yorker in me just had to try a famous sizzling Sicilian steak. I invited Rebecca to join me on the Italy trip. A fellow writer and an avid reader, we talked shop about what it takes to craft good fiction.
I just want to say thank you so much for allowing me this opportunity. You know, I love your books, and I think it's such a great learning experience to see you do what you do.
You won the raffle. So it's a pleasure to have you here, and ask away.
What I really love about your books is the pace of the action, the way it unfolds so unpredictably. As a writer myself, sometimes what I find a little difficult is knowing when to expect an idea, because I think for me the thing I struggle with the most about writing is you never know when an idea is going to fall into your lap.
part of it is a process. I find that that I usually come across a point that I am not familiar with, and I need to do some research for. Something that I really try to endeavor to do is to make the reader feel like this is really happening to them.
Let's try it at 100%.
Okay, but can you just hurry up though, because there's another storm coming. And the last thing that we need is you with all of this gear on you. Okay, but that doesn't mean that you need to die for the sake of writing a few sentences better.
In Time Trove, I needed to have a character rescued off an island, and I figured that the best way to do this was going to be under the water. I came across this personal handheld submarine called a Sea Bob. How am I going to have the reader feel that this is happening to them if all of my research is on Google?
Right.
So I need to know. I need to get on the Sea Bob. I need to take this thing underwater. I gotta do the exact same thing that my characters do. I gotta be the character.
Even though there's a thunderstorm coming, my character will be in a thunderstorm. My character drowns. So I got it. So I need to be. Yeah! Oh my gosh.
Fiction has to be believable.
Right.
Non-fiction
Absolutely.
actually has to be unbelievable. But fiction has to be
That's
believable.
a great point. I absolutely agree with that.
Speaking of believable, I still had to figure out how to get my mummy. Now, I've been in many places in my life, but this one was definitely the most ghoulish. The Capuchin monks mummified the first of their members in 1599. They dehydrated his body and washed him with vinegar. In the bizarre world of word origins, the Capuchini catacombs is where we get the word, you guessed it, cappuccino. When I discovered the catacombs, there was a sign above the door that says, "You are what we were, we are what you will be, we will all die." And in that moment, we knew this guy who last combed his hair with a 2x4 was our mummy. Now that we have chosen which mummy to steal, I had to get Valentina on board. I agreed to meet her at the local market. This was going to be a difficult conversation. So I went to the catacombs. I wasn't sure how to get there. So we went to one of the horse carriages, and you know, he knew where the catacombs were, and
Yes, of course.
so in fact, not only did he take us there, but he allowed us to actually take ourselves there on the carriage. You know, he handed over the reins and just told us where to go.
This is so scary.
This is scary.
Yes.
Because
But because, it's always better when you need to do anything like that, visit a touristic place, to hire people that
a professional.
a professional,
Like
right?
yourself, yes.
Right. Because those people.
Damn. If this is how she feels about the horse carriage, what's she gonna think about stealing a mummy? All right, so I have a character in the book who is very old. In fact, he's 4,000 years old.
Okay.
His problem is that he knows that he has a friend down there, a mummy who is a friend. He doesn't know how he got there, but he knows that this friend of his did not want to be there. He wanted a burial in the ocean. He wanted a burial at sea. He was a fisherman. If my character in today's world was to go down there and to bring, let's say, a replica mummy
Yeah.
into the catacombs to say, okay, we're going to take the real one and leave the fake one. This is something that, how would I do that? How would I do that? And would you be able to help me in any way to figure this
No
out?
way. Well, I mean, first of all, it's something that it could never happen. Like it's illegal, it's impossible. There are monks in front of the entrance of the catacombs. They can never let you in with a fake mummy. And of course, I don't know, Bill, they will look at you like you're crazy. But anyway, if you find a way, I don't want to know anything about it. I cannot help you. I can give you all the historical information that you want, but this sounds to me craziness, if I have to be honest. I don't want to offend you, but it's something that is never gonna happen.
Well, there goes that idea. In this field of research, you get used to speed bumps. I thought our American friends were going to be a little more helpful. But before we take this story back to the States, let's do a little sightseeing. It's always awesome to take in an ancient city. Back in New York, everything is so new. Thousands of years of history have played out in this place, and we can only know a fraction of it. Speaking of New York, my associate Caitlin knew a guy who knew some guys who made these fantastic models.
I think we might get a good deal here.
Brian, Bill,
Hi, Kate.
we have arrived.
How you doing?
Good, how have you been?
We were here to find out if they could make us a mummy.
Bill, I'm Bill too.
My character might actually need to use a fake mummy to swap with a real one, so I wanted to see what that would be like.
There is probably a $30,000.
Make no mistake, these guys are pros. From Star Wars to Star Trek, they've done it all,
We're Captain Kirk, the Ark of the Covenant.
which makes me a little worried.
This is one of our molding processes that we use here. So this mold that's in here right now is for the Millennium Falcon. We do a Millennium Falcon.
A sci-fi coffee table is cool and all, but how much is my mummy gonna cost?
So, when we total out the numbers with our involvement, his, and whatever, for basically like a Rolls Royce, it's going to cost upwards of about 30 grand, maybe even a little better.
30 grand for a Rolls Royce.
That's a Rolls. I mean,
How
you
about a
wouldn't-
Chevy version?
All right, with the Rolls Royce, you wouldn't. You could put this picture next to it, and you wouldn't recognize any difference at all. Okay, we could water it down quite a bit for the Chevy. You said. Okay.
A used Chevy.
Used Chevy, oh.
Well, how about a Cadillac first?
Okay, a used Cadillac.
Okay, Cadillac.
We told the
probably
guys
do-
we would have to think about it, but while I was walking around the model shop, I had a different idea.
Why can't we just get a mannequin, chop the head apart, put some hair on, glue some hair here? I think we can make our own mummy.
With the model shop 10,000 miles and $30,000 away, it's time to make a replica mummy. Not a Rolls Royce, not even a Chevy, more like a rollerblade model, the kind that fits our budget.
The mummy had hair. Somehow, we got to make him look 1,000 years old. Okay. So,
Yeah, so what's the plan, Bill? You said we could do this in 5 minutes.
remember, right?
He was born on the outside of the city lines. He was riding. He never cared too much for the white collar ball and chain. And he was raised to believe if you seek, then you shall find it. And he was always looking for a little hell to raise. 'Cause he's a renegade, and a renegade lives on the edge of the laws of man. He won't never change, gonna take this ride with his life in a pit in his hands. Well, if the story is told, he's gonna live it. And
think
if
we
it
have a
takes
5-minute
his life,
window.
he's gonna give it.
If we could pull this for 5 minutes, he could be the mummy. We got ourselves a mummy.
5 minutes. Think it's enough time for that.
Well, there's only one way to find out. Now we're going to spend the remaining time having some fun acting out some of the scenarios to see which one actually makes it to the pages. look gorgeous.
Si accende sul pavimento!
On the next episode of Renegade Rider, I get a surprise phone call from a true Renegade songwriter and mesmerizing master guitarist, J.D. Leonard.
Maybe I should say he's taking me.
I just wrote a song about you that I think you can use for the Renegade Rider TV
What?
show.
No way.
Then, I have a main character who's blind, so I need to study blindness by being blind in the New York Museum of Natural History.
About to see somebody and they said, Rick, what are you, blind?
She's laughing now, but wait till it's her turn.